Alright, everybody, welcome to this week's movie news, our Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice.
I've forgotten it was Dawn of Justice.
Movie review. So, we've just come back. Me for the second time, these guys for the first. This is Anthony, this is Sebastian, if you don't know, and today we're going to talk to you all things Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. We're going to start off by doing non-spoilers, and then go to spoilers. You'll see the thing down the bottom, so you'll know.
Yep.
Alright, let's start with our overall thoughts on the film. Quick 1-2 sentences on what you thought.
Hard. This is hard. Okay, going into the film, I was full of optimism. Wasn't excited as much as most people. I'm not the biggest fans of the whole genre anyway. But I was happy with the film. It was a good film. Not to the point where it's like, I'm going to say it's amazing or, whatever. But the length of the film's good. A bit long, I think. But still good. It's so hard to say. Oh God. I don't know.
Alright, Basil,
You go.
With the length of the film, I think it was definitely too long in terms of what they actually had in the film. Their storyline didn't reflect on how long the actual movie went for. The storyline was strong in terms of fitting things together, but actually showing the audience it was a bit jumbled, especially at the start. They kept jumping scenes. It felt like Batman Rises when they just kept going each scene. The relationship between Batman and Superman.
Oh, we'll get to the specifics.
Okay.
But what was it?
It had some really good peaks. Some. And overall disappointing in terms of what I thought it was going to live up to.
So I'm a massive Batman fan and comics fan in general. But I was going into this not expecting a hell of a lot. I wanted to see them fight. I wanted to have at least a somewhat cohesive story, and try and surprise me. Because obviously I know about a lot of the schedule and things. So I'm like, well, try and get me invested. So I walked out getting what I wanted, most of the part, but there's also nothing really surprising either. There were some surprising moments in the film, but in terms of just what's going to happen after the fact, that I wasn't surprised. Well, you started touching upon it, so I'll let you continue about
their relationship.
We'll start with the characters first. Okay. Who was your favourite? Who was your favourite character? What was your favourite relationship?
Because it felt like no one really stood out. I think because they showed you Batman basically for the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I think Batman was the best. Surprising because you don't know this kind of Batman before. You haven't seen this kind of Batman.
Yeah.
Like 40, how old is he? 45, something like that.
45, 50.
Yeah. So he's a totally different person in terms of what you saw in Nolan's. And before that in the 90s. He's a totally different guy in terms of what he really
He's at a different stage in life.
What he believes, his attitude.
He's old and bitter.
And the ways he gets to his goals are totally different. Lois Lane was a bit...
Well, don't go through each one, because we're going to go through that mostly in spoilers, but...
You can go with Batman.
So, yeah, Batman I thought was the standout character for the right reasons in the film. Gal Gadot was a nice surprise, good done. She was good, that's all I wanted. We'll see what she's like in her own film. But I thought the relationships, they all worked pretty well. I mean, considering the reason why Batman and Superman are going after each other is pretty good. Seeing Lois and Clark together, Alfred and Bruce Wayne, so all these different pairings, I thought they were all done okay, but none of them were
Nothing
great.
Nothing shone.
No, I thought this film, the biggest challenge of this film was you had the main titles, Batman vs Superman. You have these massive characters in the same film, but it's a Superman film, right? I didn't feel that at all through the first half of the film. I loved the first one. I thought they dealt with Superman's character so well.
As in Man of Steel.
Man of Steel, yes. And this one, he felt like a Batman film recreated in the first half majorly. And they had to do that to a certain degree. I would have liked more of Superman in the first bit because it just a little taste. I think they just
I think they should have switched it. In my opinion,
at the start, there was a lot of origin story with Batman, just in case no one saw Batman.
That was ridiculous.
I don't know, but my favourite actually stood out was Lex Luthor for me. I thought, what's his name? Jesse Eisenberg. In the trailer, he looked cheap and really quite tacky, the character, and it did come off somehow. In the film, it was a bit tacky, but in the duration of the film, I thought he brought the crazy character out, which was good. It was a new every kind of character was kind of a little bit redeveloped a bit.
He's going to be that character is going to be so on the fence with people. Like someone's going to
they're
go this side or that side.
Yeah.
But that's also something that we'll talk about in spoilers, where I think a lot of this film has that you either land on one side or land on the other. So,
do you reckon Superman's character was actually lost? I thought his storyline was lost.
I reckon Superman wasn't. Yeah, he got nothing new really from him.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit because I've got something to say about that too. It's so hard not to spoil this movie. So, in terms of the pacing and the effects and things like that, what did you think? Like, I thought for a 2.5 hour movie, I wouldn't say I was ever bored in the movie. There were times when I was wondering when something's going to happen because there isn't as much action as you think is going to be in this film. Like until you get to like the third act, and they do that by having different ways. So I was never bored, but it was also like
a lot of it was talking about acting.
Yeah.
All right. What are we going to do about this? What do we feel about this? And then we'll do something. But the pacing was quite solid for 2 hours. It was a long film. And especially with all the stuff in the film. The pacing was okay. The start was a bit slow. But I think it's because of the origin stuff and a lot of talking with Batman. I don't know. It was good, but like Bass said, it goes up to a point in some of the bits and it's just like, yeah, this is really good. And then it just goes right back down.
I think it has 2 lines of Batman and Superman, and they both Batman's going up, and they switch to Superman. He's going down in his storyline, and they just keep going up and down.
Yeah.
So there's no real middle, start, middle, and end. There's a big snake in terms of actual storyline if you put both of them together. So there's no I felt all the way through the film what's the time? I don't know where this fits. It didn't feel like a start or end. Well, the end did because it was a big battle thing. But
I suppose it was action.
It felt like it had a huge middle.
Yeah.
The start was the start, 10 minutes, and that had a massive.
It kind of felt a whole middle film.
Huge fucking middle, and it was We'll go into more later.
Alright, so we'll give now our rating of what we give it.
I gave it 3 stars. 3.
So,
A week 3.
so fresh.
So it's I am somewhat to say lower. I reckon on second viewing I'll put it lower. But I'm just giving it 3. It was
I give it 2.5. That's enough.
I have to say, when I watched it the second time, it was actually a lot better viewing the second time. Because the things that bothered me the first time, I knew they were coming. And they didn't seem as bad the next time I watched it, just because I knew how it all played out. But those issues are still there. So I give it a 2.5 as well. Out of 5.
We're feeling the same mark around.
Before we go to spoilers, do you think this is a good jumping off point for the rest of this DC Universe? And should Snyder be entrusted with the Justice League movie?
It's a great jumping board for a lot of characters. It's pretty much a promotional movie. I said this before. For a lot of characters in a lot of other movies. You feel like you're just being pushed with other franchises. Especially the sequence with...
Yeah, well, that's spoilers.
Yeah, so yeah. It's a sequence and they introduce more characters. And you feel like, is this just a selling point for other things? I kind of felt cheated a little bit.
Yeah, I felt cheated in terms of... Yeah, because I thought we were going into this film, like, we want to see Batman and Superman just hammer and tong, emotionally and physically, yeah? But it felt like the two best friends fighting. Sometimes.
Or...
Sometimes
it did. The outcome, it definitely felt like that. So, that's what it felt cheated, but the only reason why it felt like that was because it was all about all these other films. I felt like
that's why I felt like it felt like a middle film, because it felt like, well, this is obviously going to be going in so many directions with other films. So it kind of felt,
and
alright.
Snyder,
where's Superman? What's his story?
And Snyder, what do you think of Snyder directing Justice League?
He was good. He was really good.
Yes and no. He did Man of Steel, yeah. That was good too. I'm not.
There's nothing wrong with his direction.
I'm not
There's nothing too special.
But I didn't even like his direction in this film. Seemed like it was all over the place as well. With both Batman and Superman, their scenes by themselves, it was really noticeable differences. I know you meant that, but like it was too over the top. You know, it's like I know who Batman is, and he's down, he's sad. You know, it was just all grim.
Alright, well now we're going to go into spoilers, so click away or keep watching, or I don't care what you do, just watch. So, first character we'll touch upon is Batman. Batman is Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck. What did we think of this version of Batman?
Okay,
So what you expected?
Okay. He's a lot bigger.
He's huge!
Oh! He's monstrous!
Massive!
And especially that scene when he's doing all the muscle work.
Yeah.
And
I didn't expect that. I'm like, is this a bloody fitness promo?
I thought that was Superman in the
Trash
trailer.
pit. I'm like, is that Superman?
No.
Yeah. Look at those muscles.
Jesus.
He's big as fuck. But like, and in terms of the suit, and he has a voice, his voice is actually, how would you say?
Modulated.
Modulated.
Yeah.
So he's talking through and
A voice box.
a voice box basically. He's not putting it on like all the other Batmans, which is awesome.
I thought that was a great touch.
It was just 5 seconds in the film. It's
Yeah,
like,
it was just Alfred doing a test on it,
Yeah.
and that's it.
and that was really cool.
Ben Affleck, as acting, he did really well.
Yeah,
I thought he did really well.
he embodied that Batman really well.
Yeah, he did.
When he was cast, I was for it. I was actually like, oh my, this is good. But my worry is when he was Bruce Wayne, was I just going to see Ben Affleck being a smug Ben Affleck, kind of like in Gone Girl when he goes a bit smug. But here it wasn't. It was damaged. He was
just a
He
hard.
looked great. He acted civilized and upper class like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, but he still had just that thing underneath that he just wanted to hurt somebody constantly.
Really angst in him, real angst.
And talking of hurting people, he straight up kills people.
He killed like 40 people.
Killed everyone. Like, this is not the vigilante we've seen in the other films. He grabs guns and shoots people.
They're guns.
I was a bit split with that, because I was like, oh, this is awesome seeing him kill people for once. And just like, no.
And he
gloves are off.
brands people.
Yeah, and like, this is real dark.
You see, like, I was expecting like him being branding people and breaking people's arms and that. I'm like, that's okay. That fits. That to me, that's Batman thing, like from the comics.
It's hard.
I was expecting to get the Batman from the comics here, but there are times where Shabs kills people. Now we'll talk about the dream sequence and stuff later, but I don't count that dream sequence as him just going out and shooting people. That's like, oh, things are really bad, and him himself has changed. But there are times, like, at the end when he shoots the guy with the flamethrower and clearly he's just burned into a crisp. And he's quite happy to... Now, I thought when he did the big the Batmobile chase scene, I thought when he flipped that car over and then used it as a tow cable. I'm like, is there people in that car? But watching it the second time, because the first car drives away and then he hits the car that was behind it and there's actually no one in it.
Yeah,
and the car's just turned on. So I'm like, oh my god! I was like, just straight up, just like throwing him around.
Yeah.
But he does kill on occasion. Like it looks like his motto is, I'm trying to knock out everybody, but if it gets to a point where I can't do anything, well, fuck it, I'll just
Kill him.
Yeah.
They're
Collateral
dead.
damage.
They're dead.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's sort of realistic, I guess. 'Cause
I don't find it hard to swallow. No. It's fine.
I'm still iffy on it because there are times where I'm like, did you really have to kill them? Like in terms of having guns on the car, I'm like, Batman's always had weapons on his car to get through things, but
His car was awesome.
when they're in that chase and the back of the SUV in front falls
Yeah.
off and the guy's got a Gatling gun and then he just goes, okay, I'll use my gun. He just
blows them up.
and then goes through the car. I'm like, alright, they're dead. They're not coming back.
No.
His layer and all that is really cool. Upgraded.
Yeah.
Insane.
Even the weaponry, the armor, everything is upgraded.
And his suit looks awesome. Like 3 or 4 suits he has. 2. Something
Yeah, the main suit and then
The armoured one.
He
the
has a couple
armoured
of
one.
them.
Well, there's only the 2 in them. But I also like how he was a tactician, right? Like it's all about he was planning everything. Like you see him put the kryptonite spear in the ground towards the end because he's like, we're going to end up here at some stage, and I'm going to use that. He set up all the traps for Superman.
That was
to
really
get there.
surprising. Really surprising.
And I'm like, because everyone always asks me. Is that a knock?
No. That's the kid.
Right. Because people always ask me before this movie, it's like, how are Batman and Superman going to fight? Like,
Yeah.
how does Batman possibly go? I'm like,
Yeah.
just watch the movie. Just watch the movie. Because I assumed that this is the stuff they were going to do. I'm like, I'm glad they did it that well.
They executed that part of the film brilliantly. That whole fight sequence, the whole practicality of Batman fighting him, how it looked, how it felt, how it sounded. I reckon that was the best part of the film. For like the action sequence, that bit was great.
Yep.
Do you guys felt like there was too much Batman?
A little bit. Yes. There was too much focus on Batman. There was enough on Superman, yes, and you got it in a couple of scenes where you go, oh, what am I doing? Am I fighting for humanity? Do they deserve me? You know, am I doing the right thing?
But
There really isn't a lot of contemplation or debate on his part that you actually see in the film.
There's a lot more roundedness to Batman's character. They give more airtime. You feel like they give more airtime to Batman.
You feel like Superman's being kicked to shit the entire film. You don't see him win.
Much at all.
No, he doesn't win.
Kryptonite fucking gets him pretty good.
They fuck him up.
Alright, so we'll go on to Superman. So what...
His character was over-trumped by Batman because Batman needed to have a little more time because we didn't know really who this Batman was. So Superman is basically the same guy we saw the last one, Man of Steel. So,
And I did mention it before, it's that thing of, like, Superman is always the one to react to things that are happening before it's too late. Whereas Batman is the guy who plans for shit to go wrong. He's always suspicious of everybody, so he's always ahead of the game, whereas Superman's just reactionary.
Yeah. His scenes with when he's Clark Kent was kind of weak. Not the dinner scene, but all the other ones when he's in the Day of the Planet, things like that. I think it was kind
He's
of
a weak character, though.
I'm just saying, not the character was weak, but just the scenes were weak.
Oh.
Like, especially in the Daily Planet was crap. I didn't care. And
See, I didn't
just like it was kind of
I didn't
flimsy.
mind it.
I didn't mind it, but I kind of actually wanted more. Like when he's talking with Perry White, and he's like, you know, the planet used to stand for something, as in the Day of the Planet.
We've seen that already in all the other trailers. Basically, every scene he was in.
Yeah, but I wanted to. But when he said that, I actually kind of wanted him to go do some, like, reporting of his own.
Go into it, yeah.
Like, go and do some reporting, figure this stuff out. So it actually made me want to see more. So I wouldn't say that they were necessarily weak. It was that it just didn't kind of have a follow-up.
But that's what it means. It was weak weak scenes because it didn't have that in it. That's what it needed to be a better scene.
Do you feel like the question that the movie was asking, especially over that first half, about, you know, do we need Superman,
The
but
accountability of Superman.
the accountability. Do you feel like that was answered by the end of the film? Or do you think it kind of, after the Senate blowing up, which we'll talk about later, that after the Senate blows up, it kind of goes, oh, alright, now we're just going to try and get these guys to fight? Or does it kind of...
It went nowhere. That question was kind of weak at the start anyway. Like the first trailer was unbelievable asking that question, but it felt like it had no Senate time at all actually questioning that, asking that question at all.
It was weak, and I thought that because the set blows up, like I wish they could have just he spoke or something before they blew it up. Like, well, do you want me or not? You know, or something, some type of speech or
give
some
his
story. Yeah, point of view across the viewer because that gets lost.
It was kind of hard.
And the argument just stops. Like the whole discussion stops. Well, the Senat's blown up. Shit, everything's in chaos.
Now no one is literally asking the question.
Yeah, because they're fucking dead. And that senator, that lady, was actually a really good character.
She was.
Yeah. Really strong character. But that gets lost.
Yeah, she really sold that scene with the jar.
Oh, that was great. It was great.
Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about that now with Lex Luthor. So,
if you didn't have him in the film would be nothing.
Yeah, the film would not.
Because the whole storyline is based on what he wants to do, manipulating every single person he finds, basically to get his own way. Because looking back, when you're watching it, you don't really realise it's him, but then you think back when you're seeing ahead.
Yeah, it's
you're
so
like, oh
clear.
fuck, it was Lex idea, you know. You don't give enough credit at the time in each scene.
I think there's so much more of Lex we don't know, which is great because he's a nutshell. Like when he's making that speech and he loses his train of thought and he just kind of speaks incoherently.
I love that.
That was great to see, and I just thought, what the hell is this going on? Like he obviously is crazy.
Sometimes he
And
lost
he's
it.
a different Lex Luthor than any other Lex Luthor we've seen.
It did feel like he lost it a few times in terms of like the intensity and things like that.
yeah, like the last scene when he's in the cell and Batman's seen him and left, and then he runs up and he's like doing the bells and ticket, and he's sometimes where he just overplays it just a little bit.
He did a touch.
I'm like, be ADD, be the ADD self that you need to be, but like you can still make something like that subtle in a movie like this. Like when he's talking with the guy about getting Zod's body and the ship.
Yeah. With the lolly.
And he's playing with the lollies. Like,
great.
you can still see he's got that ADD because he's still like kind of got that twitch, but he still looks like he's someone that's functioning in the normal world, and that's the stuff I like. But it's when, and that speech is at the library function or whatever it was. That's a perfect example where almost that first 3/4 of that speech, he's on that level of like he's citing Greek. Literature,
almost
great
intelligence, things like that, and he's starting to lose his place. And he's like, that's fine. But when he's doing the weird little laugh at the end, he's like, yeah, and I'm like, no, just bring
Thanks for coming.
just bring it back a little bit.
It felt like he got lost in the film because of that. Because you got these big male photo characters, and you got like Lex Luthor, and it feels like he's not meant to be in the film. That character, you know. So I feel like the actual stance that he's on, like his motive and drive in terms of his character gets lost because doesn't feel like it's meant to be in this film.
And I didn't really buy him properly, and probably until they were on the helipad.
Yeah.
And all that revelation was happening. Yeah. I'm like, okay, now I get you a little bit more.
Yeah, like he lost you and then it won you, and then lost you and then won you. It felt like it went up and down the whole film.
Every scene had bits that were really good and other bits were really bad. Some bits felt out of place and some bits were on. I just don't.
It felt like you could chuck a scene that was in the later third part in the first bit. Like it felt you could just chuck scenes whenever. And
I thought...
And I felt like the film could make sense still.
With the Senate blowing up, I thought that could have been more...
We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Oh, I was just trying to say, there was bits like the Senate scene. That could have been pushed forward 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it could have made it... Well, this is dealing with something else. That was half through the film.
We're fucking warming up. Oh, it's warmed up too much. It was too long. It could have cut 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, scenes long.
And this is one of the things with the whole film in general, but it relates to probably Lex and also the Batman killing people. There's a lot of times in the movie where I'm like, that's an interesting way to go. So like, Batman killing, I'm like, that's an interesting way to go. I'm not sure how I feel. It's interesting. Lex, same thing. Interesting, different. You don't know. But the thing is, there's so much of that type of thought process throughout the film where you go, that's interesting, I don't know how I feel about it. Therefore, as the movie goes on and it keeps happening, it's like, I don't know how I feel about the movie.
You're beginning not to care that as much.
Yeah, it's like
sometimes
just give me something good and something that I like, and it's like, yeah, this is good, thanks. Like, I don't have to think about it constantly about whether I do or do not like.
Well, 20 minutes in, I was very apathetic to the whole thing. I was like, I can really walk out of the cinema and not care. I was really at that.
I was yawning.
I was like, I'm really not feeling this. The bit the plot line that I was a bit weird about was Lex Luthor in the ship and how he knows how to do everything and turning Zod into this monster. Like, that wasn't really thought out to the audience. Like,
no, it was like
all right, he's decided to be a fucking megalomaniac. I don't know. It kind of was really weird.
Him as a person was like someone that hadn't watched anything on Lex Luthor wouldn't know who he was. Yeah, he's rich, but how? Is he a scientist? I don't know. Like, nothing was explained.
What is Lex called? What is Lex called?
What is that? Yeah. Nothing of that was explained. But I think another point is, the chick, what's her name? Lois Lane.
Oh, alright, we'll move on to Lois now. Alright, that was the next one.
Yeah, Lois Lane. Her character, especially the start, first half, she was mainly in it. She was definitely third lead in it, in the first half at least. And her character just jumped around the world, basically, for a couple of the scenes there. And it didn't fall well with me at all.
I thought they did actually pretty right by her, considering she's a reporter with no...
It just felt unrealistic, that's the point.
Like, she's not an extremely smart person like Lex is. She's not a Batman or a Superman or anything like that. And I feel like they still gave her something to do so that she was figuring stuff out on her own while we're all watching things unfold, watching everyone else.
There could have been a scene between Clark and her talk about this kind of thing. There wasn't any of that. Like, I felt like she was...
off doing her own thing.
And like, there was no... Like, they work together. Like, they work at the same joint. Bloody desk from over there, you know. Why can't they go and talk about it? They didn't do that, which was really surprising.
The only thing I didn't particularly like about her storyline at the end is like all that she really did at the end. So she came in, saved Superman from getting stabbed by a group.
What was the point of being in there?
And then she grabs the spike, out of the spear, chucks it in the water, goes outside, realizes they're probably going to need that spear, goes back into the water, gets trapped, gets saved, mourns at the end. Like, there's the last bit where I'm like, she didn't have to be in the war zone at that point.
She didn't be there.
They wanted her there for that. Like,
Scene
I love you and
danger in distress type thing. Goodness God.
When Batman's crushing Superman's throat.
Yeah.
She gets saved a lot in this film.
What? And now we'll talk about. We'll talk about that at the Batman fight. Alright. So the next one I want to talk about was Alfred. What do we think about Alfred? This interpretation.
His best lines were already delivered before the film came out.
I don't think so.
The really good ones were.
You gotta love Rich. You gotta love. I love that actor. He's great.
Jeremy
Irons is great, and you know he brings his own flair to it. It's a bit of fun, bit of tongue in cheek, relief comedy there, which is really welcoming in the film. It can be dry. Him being a tech head, invention genius, is a new twist.
That was weird. I'm like, what is he doing? Where's the tray? Like, and he brings
tray?
the tray over right away.
Where's the over convoluted, quote of God or something?
Yeah.
You know, to say where's your path? Not here's a new bat suit. Yeah. He's kind of like Freeman and Alfred together. In the Nolan films,
he feels like an Alfred that could have almost been Batman like 30 years before. Like he could have done it himself. Like he has that, and I was saying this earlier too, in the fact that they don't sound like they have. It's not a father-son relation. Like he doesn't look up to him like a father. It's more like a partnership.
Almost like a sidekick. Almost.
Yeah, almost. Which I don't mind. But like you're saying, in the comics generally Alfred used to do everything. And then slowly they started introducing characters like Lucius Fox, like Oracle and stuff, who would take over so he wouldn't be doing everything.
Mm.
And that still might happen if we get a Batman movie. Didn't have any exciting segue for that one. Doomsday. What did we think of Doomsday? Did the trailers spoil?
No, I don't reckon it did. I reckon the trailers actually gave me a negative view of what he was going to be. And he turned out to be better than I thought he was going to be.
In terms of what, Zod getting turned into him, or just the way that it was...
No, the way they did it, where they did the whole fight scene, how strong he was. And he was actually quite terrifying in terms of how strong he was.
And he kept evolving.
Yeah, he was pretty intense. And I didn't mind that with the sword thing. But that's now going back to explaining how they did that. They just showed you it. And didn't put any background into that at all.
I agree with you. The trailer in the trailers, I was like,
This looks horrible. Yeah.
This is terrible. This film's not going to be good. And it really made a bad impression on me. In the film, I reckon it was really cool bringing Zod back and making him Doomsday. It connects both of the films together. He looked so much better in the film. The CGI is so good, especially when he's first born. And I thought that was really, really
It
good.
looked like the orc of the White Orc.
Yeah.
The Hobbit.
So,
Okay.
because I have talked with like the person I went to see it the first time with. He was like, why did we need that guy to happen? And I agree with that too. But also, you can imagine reading that script and being like, if the Batman and Superman fight is your big last action scene, like it's not big enough to kind of end the movie on. If it ends that way,
Especially the way the storyline goes. Like,
And you can't...
They need each other.
Yeah. Like when they stop fighting because they have the same mother's name, it was a bit thin.
yeah, we'll talk about that either.
Yeah, but if you can't stop the movie because you can't give them justification to stop fighting, because then they kind of band together and now they're friends, and you introduce Wonder Woman.
But it makes the strength of Doomsday made sense of how that they needed all three. That really found legs. It really did. I thought that was like a bit overkill. You need three guys.
And using the kryptonite kind of tidied things up a lot.
They're really stretching having Batman in that fight too. Even he knows, like, nah, I'm just zipping away. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm in the last shot.
He hid underneath one of the broken slab thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm fuck this, and Superman.
One more,
Just got
double
his
teams.
arms sealed up, just standing there.
Let's do a truth. Whatever it is.
Yeah, so that's probably the last character that we'll talk about. Is Wonder Woman.
Yes.
What did we think of Wonder Woman? How she was used? Are you excited for her next one?
That was probably one of the best characters in the way that they used her.
Yeah.
She was in beautiful dresses.
Yeah.
She looked unbelievable.
That's amazing.
Like a real princess.
Sprinkled in a few scenes with Batman, and their chemistry was really good. With the data things. That was a bit weird with the data thing. Like they just walked in, walked out. That was kind of weird. But her good, and her actual development of like, she'd go and help them was, I believed it.
She was great. I thought I completely agree. I thought her storyline was great, especially with the new characters. She's finding out the new characters, you know. And the photo and seeing she's, you know, really old and stuff. I was really enticed, and it makes me want to watch her individual film. It sells you that film really well, and I will see it now.
Because it gave you enough. They didn't come between Batman and Superman, how big they have to be.
It gave you a bit of knife and dagger, a bit of mystery in the film, which is really welcome. A bit of almost James Bond film with the secret girl. You
Yeah.
know? But perfect casting. Perfect casting.
I mean, she doesn't get a hell of a lot of lines.
No.
Like, she only gets a few.
A lot of looks.
She
She does.
But she really what it did really well was kind of give you the basics of what Wonder Woman's powers are and what her arsenal is in terms of, we got to see the lasso, which was really cool, and you also had the sword and the shield and everything like that.
Cutting legs up.
Her wristband.
You made the comment when they were about to fight Doomsday and all three of them standing there, and you're like, Superman's just standing there with his fists, and they've got like sword and shield and gun and his shield. He's standing.
Superman's just there. Just standing there, yep, taking it in.
Alright, so we've talked about it a little bit, but so the opening of the movie, we see Batman's origin story, basically. Do we think that was handled well in terms of opening the movie just with that?
They could have shortened the whole scene down. I like the voice over in terms of he was dreaming, and because he floats up.
Which
Cool.
you're looking at and you're like, what is going on?
No,
They're not doing this. This is against physics.
They're like, he's sitting there.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
But
And he says he's dreaming. That was just
it's
cool.
like, that's how in my dreams they were always taking me to the light, which is a lie. Like, I'm like, okay, thank God.
I like, yeah, I know what you're saying. But I love that narration was really good. But they could have just had him falling in the well. And we know what had happened to his dad and mum. Yeah? So they could have just opened it up, him talking, and then him falling into the well, and then him basically rising, and then says, I'm waking up, you know.
And like in terms of the flashback, like they could have seen them walking out of the theatre, the guy coming out,
Could have been
going to punch and
seconds.
shoot. Like, yeah, that part could have been like almost halved.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was too stylishly directed and done. It was like every frame and everything. It could have even done more creatively. It wouldn't even need live action. You know what I mean? It could be done fucking animation or something. I don't know. But it just, no, we didn't need to see for the 100th time how the hell, you know,
But
the parents die.
I think the only reason I give it more of a pass in this is because there was something in that flashback which was going to be shown to us later as to why. Even though it is probably a little bit flimsy in terms of the Martha thing, but the whole point was seeing Thomas Wayne on the ground saying Martha.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's why it was shown. So I'm like,
They could have cut that, you could still have that in there. But and it gives credit to, gives, what do you call it in the word? What's the good word?
what are you trying to say?
I don't know. No. So yeah, the scene gives having that scene gives all the other scenes in the film, because he's looking at his mum and dad's grave heaps in their old house, and you see so many shots of the mansion burnt and all that, like just destroyed, yeah. And so that first scene gives all the other scenes kind of a bit of air to it, which I hated all those scenes.
I didn't. There was too much time with Batman, basically. It's a Superman film.
I
don't know. I
plot line
conflicted with this.
was the Martha mum thing. That was the whole build up for that.
I know.
But I could have bought into that anyway. I didn't need all those scenes because we've seen so many Batman films. I really love Batman.
So feeding into that, what do we think of it then going into the Man of Steel event? The
That thing.
the terraformer in Metropolis, and Batman going and seeing it through Batman's point of view, going through the city and everything. What do we think of that?
It did take too long. But I didn't like it. I liked it, but it took
That
too
was
long.
good because it gave the basis of Batman's motivations and drives.
But you already got that in the trailer.
You got I know that, but like they could have shortened it to that kind of thing. I would have even liked just having that bit and Bruce saying, "Oh, my parents died. Oh my god, my mum's name's Martha." Like I would have liked that more. Like for fuck's sake, and I really that was one of the best bits. That secret of his building getting blown up and the kid. It makes him hate that Superman. It makes him bitter and angry of the system and letting him do it, not being accountable. So it gives the whole story arc of that ground.
It was a good way to show his point of view.
I'm just saying it could be shorter.
Yeah.
Oh, it was totally a bit long. Why the hell we need the chase of falling buildings on him, of the car. I don't know.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I don't really understand that.
So the Senate bombing, which we
Yeah.
talked about,
Probably the first or second best bit in the film.
Yeah.
did it take you by surprise?
Oh,
Huge surprise.
I almost jumped. I think I did jump. I was like, I think I gasped. I think I did.
My mouth was like, wow.
It
Did
was
you-
awesome.
I knew there was something with the guy in the wheelchair,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
I didn't expect that from him.
No, and
No.
it was. But once again, it was a really interesting way that Lex put together that whole situation.
Yeah,
And the fact that it kept going to his chair, that he wasn't there.
Yeah, you're like, something's up. What
And
the
then
hell?
you have.
and it sucks that I didn't feel like I liked it as much as I should have. I felt like I didn't like it. I really should have liked that heaps more.
And the fact that the Senator Finch was turning the jar
Yeah.
and the callback of the Granny's peach
Yeah,
tea.
that talk they had to go.
That was really ingenious. I thought that was great.
And you're like, that guy probably did pee in that jar. Like, that it makes sense that guy probably would be.
Yeah.
And then the shot of Superman just standing amongst the
That was
fire
awesome.
and
That
like,
was awesome.
and he knows he could.
I didn't see it, and the emotional scene with what's her name?
What was that?
Lois Lane. I hate the owls. Lois Lane and him as Batman, as Superman. Sorry, on the balcony. Is that when they're talking about? I didn't see it. I should have saw it. Just didn't look.
And I think they found clever ways to depower Superman to the point of, okay, he can see through things, he can hear things, but he has to concentrate to be able to hear those
Yeah,
things.
yes.
Like, he's not walking in a room and just scanning everything and it's like, okay, I know what's in here. Like, he has to, he would have had to look at the wheelchair
It's a
and analyse the wheelchair to be able to figure out what's actually in with.
He was distracted by the
And that was weird when he did it, hearing the knocking on when she's drowning. That was a bit. I didn't like it. You liked it?
Yeah, a bit far-fetched.
But I can tell.
Doomsday, and you can hear that. You can't see the bomb.
Yeah, but I guess there's not that much else happening on that island, right? Like, it's just Doomsday screaming
Yeah.
and knocking is different. Plus, he knows that Lois was there.
Bit of a reach, Dave.
He knew that Lois was there.
Did he?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
because it's in the same spot as where they fought.
Oh yes.
I mean,
yes.
sorry.
So she wouldn't have
It was a bit of a reach, but you had to say it, so
Yeah.
I forgive that part.
Alright, well,
Wouldn't it be cool if Batman saved?
Yeah.
so something we've
It
kind of
was
touched
actually-
upon a little bit, but what did we think of the actual Batman Superman fight?
It was really good.
I thought the fight was really the issue is the ending and the beginning of why the fight happened and how it ended. Both being one, that fight never really had to happen if all Superman said was,
Can I save my mum?
Lex has got my mum, let's not fight.
Yeah. I was like, get it out, get it out.
Just say it. And then after the sonic beams and the guns and that, Batman wasn't doing anything after that when Superman walks up and takes him through the thing. So I was like, it's one of those things where the fight wouldn't happen if all he said was, Lex has got my mum and he wants me to kill you. Yeah. And the ending obviously with the Martha thing, which surprised me because, I mean, I knew the names of Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent's parents, and I never put together that they both named Martha.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, that was cool, but of a stretch.
But he thought, but he thought he was talking about his mum. Batman thought he was talking about his mum.
Yeah.
But obviously talking about Superman was talking about his own mother. That's why he stopped.
And Martha's not a very used name these days. So it's like, big coincidence.
Martha.
But yeah, the fight itself was really good. I loved it even when there was that moment where, like the way Batman orchestrated it was really cool. But even when Superman started coming out of the kryptonite and like there was the punching in the head and
That
then
was
slowly.
fucking hard. And the shit that Batman hit Superman with was just like brutal. I thought he'd be bleeding because they wanted to see him bleed.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh,
I think you
you
see
see
a
it
drop
bleed.
come over his nose so
But
many
then
with the sink.
yeah,
I'm
fucking,
like,
he broke his head off." But then he cuts his cheek with the spear.
That's a nice touch.
That was
Because sees him bleed. Yeah, but I love how even you can see in Affleck's face, even though it's only this bit of his mouth, when when Superman's coming out of it and he's got his mouth, he's like, oh.
no,
And he starts putting his hands up like that when Superman rises. It's like, bang.
Yeah.
So I actually like the fight a lot. I just had the
I really
issue
liked it too.
with the beginning of it and the end of it.
The reasons why.
Yeah, it's like, come
It was
on.
questionable.
But yeah, in a movie like that, you gotta
The
have
way
fun.
they did it was really good. Really well done.
And yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit too, but like the Trinity fight, did you notice a lot in the film how they kept mentioning how
No
no one was there?
No one was there. I was like just thinking about Civil War the whole bloody time.
Every time. Oh, the block is vacant.
Yeah.
No one's on the island.
Yeah. And then it's like, why have you brought him back to the city? Oh, the dock there's no one here at the dock.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
like,
no one here.
Lucky there's a recession.
We're not going to kill anyone.
I get it.
No, lucky it's the weekend. That's what he said.
Well, some of
It's
that.
not a work day.
Yeah. It's like
There's no one down in Little City or something.
That's right. It's like, thank God that everyone's gone home for the day. I'm like, okay. Alright, we get it.
We get it. You're
We're
not
not
killing
killing
citizens.
citizens. Oh.